when it comes to Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis, this is what I would prefer to see out of the people who have said horrible, vicious, and vile things about Joe Biden. Be honest, right? This person says, well, since you mentioned the karma aspect with Rush, maybe Joe Biden got what was coming to him with Beau and now himself. Just a thought? Yes, that's maybe what he had coming to him, according to you, right? See, I say Rush Limbaugh deserved every ounce of misery that he ever experienced as a result of his medical diagnosis before his passing, because of the misery he caused millions of people with his words and his actions. I thought it was justice that Rush Limbaugh be made to suffer at the end of his life. You think it's justice that Joe Biden should be made to suffer at the end of his life. For some reason, because of Beau, or Joe Biden got what he wanted because of Beau getting sick, and now with his own diagnosis. So let me ask you a question. I think Rush Limbaugh deserved his misery because of misery he inflicted on others. For what reason do you think Joe Biden would deserve it? I'm just curious. Because if the day came, if they announced today that Donald Trump had aggressive cancer and this was not looking good, yeah, I would be on here the next day saying, I didn't wish it on him, but I'm not going to lose a fucking moment's sleep. I hope the motherfucker suffers every day between his diagnosis and the end of his fucking life, which is what I assume most people who are pretending to be kind now but have said vile things about Joe Biden, wanting him locked up and all sorts of things, are actually thinking behind closed doors. So let's examine it. What did Joe Biden do in your world to deserve to suffer? He dedicated his life to his country. This is a man who served as a public servant his entire life. This is a man who sponsored the Violence Against Women Act. This is a man who was somebody that didn't fall for the trappings of Washington, D.C., and over the course of 3 decades of service as a senator, never made it rich, never cashed in, made money later on in life through his memoirs and speaking fees because of his time with Obama in the presidency. But all those years that you guys used to like to bitch about, what has he done in 37 years of being in the Senate? Well, he did a fair share of things while serving in the Senate, including not getting rich, taking the train to and from his house every day like a regular Joe. Sponsored bills that helped the American people, served faithfully as Vice President of the United States, helping get a bill passed through Congress that provided health insurance to 22 million more Americans than had it before he was Vice President. During his presidency, worked with Republicans in Congress to get things like infrastructure bills passed that put Americans to work and rebuild a crumbling infrastructure. Made sure that we were trying to make as much of our technology here in the United States of America as possible. Made sure that we were trying to protect the men and women who were exposed to toxic burn pits. I mean, he got a lot more done than I ever anticipated. And did it all with grace and humiliation. This is a man that sat on TV with the daughter of John McCain and comforted her by telling her that even though her father and him were diametrically opposed to one another politically, they were human beings first. There's a reason why Lindsey Graham gave that interview in the back of that car in which he said, if you don't like Joe Biden, then there's something wrong with you as a person. But you believe he deserves to suffer. You believe he deserves to suffer so much that Beau should have suffered for whatever he did. Beau, a man who served not only his nation, but served his nation in uniform. At least you're being honest. At least you're not being like some of these fucking hypocrites on this app who are pretending to all of a sudden give a shit about Joe Biden's medical diagnosis after wanting him literally strung up 4 years. At least you're being honest. Because I guarantee you that when the time comes for Donald Trump, I'm going to be on here being honest too.